And it is because I didn't want to start another topic that would go for a long time because I was excited to get on the phone with my guest, my buddy, who I've been following for a long time, by the way. Welcome to the show, Dianna Muller. How are you?
Hi, thanks. And I guess you were so excited you didn't turn us off. Is that what happened?
Yeah. I'm telling you, it's, hold on just a second here. I've got to make sure. All right. Yesterday, I had some buttons pushed and I took us off the air. And I'm not really a dingbat when it comes to pushing the right buttons. But yesterday, for some reason, I just did everything wrong. So I'm second guessing myself today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for being here. You were on with Keith Hansen, I guess, last week?
Oh, man, it seems like so long ago I've forgotten.
I know. Isn't that something, the way time goes by, huh? But
yeah.
He was very excited to have you on. I know that.
Oh, thanks. It's always good to be heard because I think that there's a lot to be talking about these days.
Oh, my word. Is there ever? Now,
Go ahead.
You're in Oklahoma.
Actually, no. At the moment I'm in north central Missouri at my mother's house.
Oh,
and
good
then we recently sold our Tulsa house after the election, and I think that the world is circling the drain. I thought that we have some land and family in Coffeyville, Kansas. That's where my husband is from. So we had planned on building there. It just kind of pushed that schedule forward, and we sold our Tulsa house. So now besides my dentist and
wow,
my bank,
yeah,
that's my only ties to Tulsa now.
That's going to be quite a trip to get a tooth fixed.
I know. It's not that far. It's only like an hour and a half.
Oh, is that right? So you're going to be in Kansas. That's nice. That's
right.
Terrific. And you are you're amazing. I mean, you first of all, I'd like to talk with you a little bit about three gunning, because that's always fascinated me. And as I said, I own, along with a partner, American Women Who Bear Arms, which you've been featured on several times over the years. But you three gunner, we're talking with Dianna Muller, by the way, former police officer in Tulsa and three gunner and founder of the DC Project. Do you travel to do your three gunning? And first of all, to those who maybe don't know what three gunning is, why don't you explain what it is? Because it's fascinating.
Sure. We call it kind of the X Games of the shooting sports because we shoot rifles, pistols, and shotguns. It's an action sport, so we're running around with our hair on fire, trying to be as accurate and as fast as possible. So there's a lot to manage there, but that makes it 3 times as fun for me. So
now it's rifle, it's pistol, it's shotgun, right?
Correct.
And what is the fact? And you're looking for a fast time and hitting the target, correct?
Correct.
That's amazing. What is the most challenging gun for you? Is it the handgun, the rifle, the shotgun?
Well, it's kind of like, when you ask somebody who your favorite kid is, it's
right.
It's not easy to say who's the good kid and who's the bad kid.
Right.
You like all your kids for different reasons, but I shoot Benelli shotguns, I shoot Nemo rifles, and my handgun is a Hayes custom pistol. They are out of Austin, Texas. So I've got some great partners that keep us on the road and really allow me to do the advocacy work that I've been doing as well, because of course that's not a paid position.
Right.
So Fiocchi ammo, 511 tactical as my gear, Night Force optics. So I've got some great partners that keep me and my husband both going down the road. And I just got back from Washington, D.C., so a little impromptu trip for the Senate Judiciary hearing.
Yeah, that's great. You were there with Chris Cheng was there, and former Texas Representative Hupp, who we talked about her the other day. She was the lady who went, I think it was Luby's Cafeteria,
yes.
and
yes.
She didn't take her gun in with her because it was the law.
It was a gun-free zone.
Right.
That's what all these mass shootings, that the media does cover.
Yeah.
There's a lot that they don't cover because it doesn't fit their narrative, but that's what they have in common, is that they're gun-free zones, and they strip law-abiding citizens of their right to protect themselves. And these madmen, they go in and they do their business, and And just like she said, the end of her story is that as soon as he was met with equal force, he went in the bathroom and killed himself.
Yeah, exactly.
But her testimony is so, I cried sitting there listening to it for the umpteenth time. And I know I've heard her story. But what was fascinating, and for your audience who doesn't know, that this guy drove through the Luby's window,
right,
got out, and just started indiscriminately shooting people. And it took her quite a while. They thought it was a robbery, but then they realized that he was just going to walk around and shoot people. Her dad finally sees an opportunity and rushes him. He shoots and kills Dad, and her and her mom are left behind the table, and she's like, "Mom, the window's open, let's go." She runs out, and then she realizes Mom didn't go with her. Mom went over and cradled Dad until the gunman got back around to Mom, shoots Mom. And so and she says, she's not angry at the guy who did it. He was crazy.
Right.
She's angry at her legislators who disarmed her and denied her the chance to stop him. So that is so powerful.
It is.
When I got back home, somebody, how they'll do clips of testimony. Well,
right.
Somebody did a clip of her testimony that was from almost 30 years ago.
Right.
Same story, same woman, same point, same legislators. Chuck Schumer was up there.
Wow.
And I'm just sitting there thinking about the incessant attacks on the Second Amendment and how our side, we cannot let our guard down. We cannot stop the defense. As much as we would like to say, okay, we've talked about this, let's close this book. That's not how it's going to work. They're going to keep going until somebody else takes their reins. It's just like a never-ending cycle here.
Unbelievable. That's just unreal. So Schumer, and I'm sure Pelosi, she was probably there.
I didn't see her, but honestly, I didn't look. It was just like, I can't believe that we're having the same conversations almost 30 years later.
And Schumer has not budged. He has not budged on his detest for people having guns. Now, here's a question, and this is what I think. I think that this is not, they don't care about people. They don't care about guns. They don't want an armed citizenry. What do you think? Are they trying to disarm us?
Well, yes, absolutely. I think that there's a bigger picture, and the people that are being used as pawns to make that happen are a little short-sighted.
Yeah.
But I think what's different now than 30 years ago when they started this big push is that now they have poisoned our everybody's lockstep. Mainstream media, social media, Hollywood, all of the messaging that's going into the average, everyday Joe Blow citizen is now lockstep that guns are bad, guns need to go away. So I think that, they're definitely making headway in the culture war.
They are.
And I think that's what's different, and that's why it's so dangerous right now. We're in dire straits of possibly losing our rights. I mean, we've lost, honestly, looking at it, we've probably lost our First Amendment, and if our Second Amendment goes, then I think everything else is just downhill from there.
Oh, absolutely. The Second Amendment, we've often said it as gunners, the Second Amendment protects all the rest, Dianna. We're talking with Dianna Muller, a three-gunner, founder of the D.C. Project, former police officer in Tulsa, Oklahoma. You're just an amazing American. You've got great insight here, and everything you say is right on. I love it, and I think we're getting people saying that they're fans of yours. They love you. Can't wait for the conversation. That's from Eric. Max is there. We've got a lot of people checking in here. We've got a bunch of different social media platforms going, so we're hearing from them as we speak here. And I'll check the text line as we go as well. But yeah, I mean, we are headed to dire straits, and you're right. The narrative is, and the thing is, the thing that really, I don't know how to combat this, Dianna. Maybe you've thought about it. Maybe you have some advice for us. But you have all of these people who are nothing more than echo chambers for the propaganda media, for the the Congress, the politicians, they're nothing but echo chambers. They are, in fact, Kool-Aid drinkers. We call them Kool-Aid drinkers and lemmings, which is exactly what they call us. Now, we aren't following any other ideology than constitutionalism and freedom. It's they who are following the socialist path. They are, by definition, the lemmings and the Kool-Aid drinkers, are they not?
I agree with you, and I have seen the people who say the exact same thing that I think about them. So we're definitely being divided, and I think that's part of the master plan.
Yeah,
you have to divide us by, now it's even down to masks and no mask, and vaccine and no vaccine. But I'm telling you, the propaganda machine. Americans have been so spoiled for so long that we've just turned over our liberties for what we think is safety and security, and our cell phones and electricities, and everybody's happy about it. But we sit here and the problems are glaring and the problems are obvious. But what are the solutions? And one of the things that I've never had kids. I'm 50 years old. I've never had a kid, so the school systems were something I didn't really pay attention to. And recently I had lunch with a state representative in Oklahoma, and they told me that there are 0 conservative voices on the Tulsa Public School Board. And I'm like, what kind of propagandizing? Now realizing that, that there is an effort to collectively work to push a message through social media, through Hollywood, and through mainstream media. It's like our school systems, I would just assume, I'm not going to think that they're not going to do the same thing. The same people are in control of it. So I've been telling my audience to, consider running for school board, consider running for state, local office, consider federal office. I mean, feel like the bar's been set pretty low.
No, that's great advice, Dianna. We've gotten that every like-minded conservative guest we've had on this show has said, yeah, that's what we need all hands on deck. That is one of the go-to phrases now. All hands on deck. Run for a local office. Get involved. If you've got kids in school, at least go to the school board meetings if you can. We've got one school board in central Maine, which Maine is a very rural, and the further north you go, the more conservative it gets. Yet in a northern town, we've got a school board that wasn't allowing parents to come to some of the meetings. They were putting posters on the wall for fifth graders about, transgenderism and this and that. And yeah, this is becoming a more and more common narrative among kids. What happened to reading, writing, and arithmetic? It's starting at a very young age now, and it is scary.
Yeah.
So who knows where we're headed? We can only
a long time ago, several years ago, I was like, you know what? All of the hate, one side hates the other side thinks the other side's idiots.
Yeah.
I was like, we just need to get a divorce and use the Mississippi River. Everybody who wants, flip a coin. Everybody who wants their God, their guns, and their walls go to one side, and everybody who wants the utopia of chaos. I don't understand that. I don't understand why people in Portland are allowing the chaos, and that's what they're pushing for. Defund the police. Right. And it's like that. Does that not look like chaos to you? Is that something that you want to live in? Because it just doesn't seem. It's incongruent to what I know to be right and true.
Well, the Portland mayor out there, Ted Wheeler, has been on both sides. He's been out there with the protesters. Now he's saying we need to refund the police because we have too many protesters. Poor Andy Ngo, the journalist, got driven out of there and had to go to another country because he was being threatened by Antifa for his book. It's almost laughable, but it's too serious to really laugh at. I mean, it's sort of a nervous laugh, I guess. Right.
You hear legislators talk about domestic terrorists, and in my mind, when I hear domestic terrorists, I think immediately of an Antifa and BLM.
Right. Absolutely.
But what these legislators who they're talking about are the people who were peacefully marching, and then the insurrection in quotes. They want to use that word,
Yeah.
and label everybody that was at the rally on the 6th as a domestic terrorist, and that's scary. Is just to use the language, because these Kool-Aid drinkers that you're talking about, they believe it. They believe that that we are the bad guys, and that we need to be monitored.
Yep.
List and make sure that we don't have public jobs and things like that. So
okay,
yeah.
here's a question. You went to the Senate hearings on gun control.
Correct.
Did you actually go inside the Capitol building?
No, actually, well, first of all, the wall, the razor wire, and some of the outer walls have come down.
Oh, they have.
Yes. Now
Oh.
there is just a wall with no razor wire around the Capitol, and I could not go through the Capitol grounds at all. And the hearing was in one of the office buildings.
Okay.
So, but very strict of who's coming in, and only staffers. It's not open to the public. The DC project is Women for Gun Rights. So basically, if you've ever heard of Moms Demand Action and seen their red shirts, we are the opposite of that. We believe that education is the key to safety.
Yes.
And not legislation. So we're trying to provide a counter visual and a counter voice to the red shirts that we call them commie mommies every once in a while.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, every time I see a picture of Shannon Watts, I just want to go be sick somewhere. I'll tell you that.
Well, it's very, very sad that that people can't have a conversation. And I have met her. I introduced myself to her, and she kind of asked me one question about universal background checks. And when I said I didn't agree with her, she said, "Well, we don't have anything to talk about."
Yeah. See, that's the type
Okay.
of, that's the way she reacts. And I did I went over to the Moms Demand Action page. It was several years ago, and they had posted an ad, how deplorable it is that Cabela's has an AR-15. They're advertising in the paper an AR-15 at this price, and I just merely posted underneath. I thought, well, thank you, that's a really good price, and they deleted me from the page. I cannot post.
Yeah.
So and it was
there
all.
is no discourse. You either bow or you're kicked out.
Yeah, exactly. And on American Women, I unless people get really, they swear and start just getting mean and nasty,
Right.
they say whatever they want, because I know that the users of the page are going to come back on them tenfold, and the problem will take care of itself. But they just don't want any discourse at all over there.
Well, and that's why I think the DC project is so important, is because I didn't, in the beginning, I didn't want to create another organization. I just wanted to do something, meet gun owners, meeting women gun owners,
Right.
meeting their legislators to push back on that narrative. But now it's kind of taken on a life of its own. We've pushed down to the state level. We trying to go see the state capitol legislators as well. And we're growing. I'm not very good at asking for money and fundraising.
Yeah.
So I've got an amazing team of volunteers, and we are kind of upping our fundraising efforts, because I recognize that in order to counter moms effectively, we're going to have to at least get some sort of funding behind us. They have a $36 million budget. I think.
Wow.
I don't know.
Well,
last year it was 60 million because of the election.
they got Bloomberg too.
That's Bloomberg money.
Yeah.
So, and they have they have great campaigns that I get an email from them on a regular basis. And it's all hate. It's all hate filled.
Yep.
Fear mongering, fundraising, and they've got a very well oiled machine and very well motivated people. So if your audience is inclined, or if they know any Bloombergs that want to support the opposite side, dcproject.info, or reach out to me, I'll be glad to talk to them.
That's terrific. I have on my page this morning. I'll be sure to share it on American Women as well. I've got a link to the DC Project on American Women right now, and on Right America Media, and on my page this morning. I think I've got a link to your. I think if I recall, the name of your page is 3 Gun Girl or something like that. I'll link to the DC Project and to your personal Facebook page anyway, Dianna.
And let me tell you about this. I'm pretty excited about this. Jerry Mitchell is the greatest of all time shooters. If you don't know who Jerry Mitchell is, he's kind of the Michael Jordan of our shooting industry.
He is the GOAT.
He is the GOAT. And he has allowed, we have one of our fundraising efforts is a 2-man team match. So we are selling Jerry's partnership. We are selling training with Jerry the day before the match.
Really?
We're selling his partnership at the match. It's a 2-day match. And then also a Mossberg shotgun is part of the package. So if anybody is interested in supporting the DC Project and having possibly a chance of winning that, they can go to dcproject.info/Jerry and buy some tickets.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's going to be May 22nd and 23rd. So 21st would be the training day. 22nd, 23rd is the match. And that is also in Versailles, Missouri, which is right smack dab in the middle of Missouri and not close to any airports. But
yeah. Oh, that's great. Jerry Mitchell, that's great. And Lena, of course, his daughter, will probably, I've seen her around. I've seen Jerry once at one of the NRA conventions, but I didn't get to talk to him. I talked to Lena once. She wouldn't remember me from Adam, but
great people.
Great family. And I saw Jerry Mitchell. This is no kidding. If you go on YouTube and you don't know who he is, it's Miculek, I think is how you spell his last name. And he took with a revolver, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, if you know this story, Dianna, but I believe he took a revolver and from something like some ungodly distance, like a mile or something, he shot a balloon.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yes. I don't even remember what that was, but it was a pistol caliber and it was 1,000 yards.
Yeah, 1,000 yards.
I think what's more impressive is he has so many speed records. He has, he takes a revolver, shoots 6 rounds, reloads it and shoots 6 rounds in some ungodly time.
I know.
3 seconds.
I know. It's unreal. It's like he's like a machine. He really is. Yeah. Oh, but that's awesome. What is that web address again to sign up for that, Dianna?
It is dcproject.info/Jerry. We'll take you straight to the cart where you can purchase tickets.
Okay. So dcproject.com/info. Oh, no. DC. Okay. dcproject.info/Jerry, Jerry. And check that out. That's awesome. Now, the DC Project, what is your, we know what your platform is, your mission statement. What do you do? And by the way, the state director is somebody we've had on this show before, Tatiana Whitlock. She, another amazing woman. And you have a different woman from every state, correct?
Correct. We had, I tried to get one woman from every state to come to Washington, D.C. to meet their legislators there. But then after Virginia fell in 2019, I realized how important the state effort was, is that nobody's really pushing back on these Moms Demand Action and these anti-gun groups, from the women's perspective. And that's what, seems to be so relevant right now. So we asked the ladies that have been coming to Washington, D.C. to go back to their home states and do a similar effort in trying to recruit. So if anybody's in Maine, and please go to dcproject.info/join and sign up. It's free to sign up. I told you I was really bad at getting money, and
I understand. I get that. I can relate to that so well, Dianna. I am with you. We're talking, by the way, this is Dianna Muller, founder of the DC Project. And just a great human, a great American, and a 3-gunner and former police officer. And anyway, so go ahead and continue with that.
Yeah, so I just wanted to encourage anybody that lived in Maine. We definitely need more Maine ladies.
Yep.
And anybody who's listening, we've got a place for you to. We're very grassroots. So I don't want people to think that we have the $36 million budget and we're very well oiled, but. Really what I just need is women that have a heart to do something and then jump in and actually do something. And West Virginia, if there's West Virginia people, I need a West Virginia lady. I don't have a state director there right now. and Joe Manchin is the key to our livelihood for the near future.
Right. Yeah. And you're kind of lucky with Joe Manchin that he's a Democrat who stands where he is.
Right.
So he's sort of like anti-gun light, it seems.
Right.
He's,
exactly. Well, and honestly, I think, if you look back 20, especially 30 years ago, 20, 30 years ago, these industries, these firearms industries, they didn't want to get into politics because the Second Amendment is for everybody. It is a nonpartisan issue. It has just only been recently that the Democrats have turned so far left and so far anti-gun and so much hate and vitriol for gun owners. That's where it's turned. He's the only one that's just kind of remained, and everybody else is kind of lockstep with the Democratic platform of going against guns. But those 8 million brand new gun owners, I'm pretty sure some of those are going to be Democrats.
Oh, absolutely.
So
yeah.
What we need from our Democrat friends that might be listening to you is that we need you to be the loudest voice.
Yeah.
We need you to go knocking down their door and saying, this is a no-go. Do not do this. This is a constitutional issue. Back up off our Second Amendment. That's what I need, and I need more Democrats. I need more Democrats in our group. It's just really difficult because of the partisanship that has come down the pipe, and I feel like that's coming from the Democrats. So, however it may be, but we are nonpartisan, and we are looking for Democrat people to stand up for the Constitution.
We've got a lot of great Democrat gun owners in this state, and luckily our governor, despite the fact she seems to be a tyrant on the whole COVID-19 mandate, this executive order thing, which has been going on forever and still is, she has been good because we have a couple of great groups here in Maine who I will reach out to on your behalf, Dianna. But we have the Gun Owners of Maine. We have the Sportsmen's Alliance of Maine. Sportsmen's Alliance of Maine has a lot of Democrats in it who I've met. One I worked with pretty closely, a former senator here, did a show with us for the Sportsmen's Alliance of Maine. And he's a great outdoorsman, a great gun guy, a big promoter. And I don't understand, given the division between Democrats and Republicans in Congress, how Democrats can continue to vote Democratic, knowing it flies completely in the face of their Second Amendment rights to do so. It just doesn't make sense to me. But
we're losing the culture war, and and if we don't get busy on pushing back on that, we're gonna be in the minority.
So we're looking for people at the state level more than necessarily going to Washington, D.C. So it wouldn't be something where they had to travel. They could still be part of the D.C. project and work with local people and maybe even start a local D.C. project group.
Absolutely.
Now, are you the one, you're sort of the nucleus of it, right? I mean, they come to you for marching orders or ideas and resources and stuff?
Yeah, I'm the founder, and I do have a lot of ideas that we push forward, but I have a great board. Got Holly Sullivan up in Connecticut, and she's the Connecticut Citizens Defense League president. Got Amanda Suffolcool in Ohio, Kelly Pigeon in Pennsylvania, Robin Sandoval in Texas, and Beth Walker is our youngest, and I have tasked her with taking over when I'm dead.
Jeez, don't do that. No.
She's our social media. She's our social media guru out of Indiana, and then Stephanie Schaefer out of Nebraska. So those are my regional directors and kind of our board members, our advisory board members, and they do a fantastic job for us with, ideas and driving them forward. It's just that, honestly, that every one of those women, I need to be able to pay a full-time salary to. I'll settle with just one right now, but we could really blow this up if we could do this full-time and focus on it. Because we get so much good stuff. We've got women testifying left and right. We're doing that visual, the visual of, we have a Teal for 2A campaign. So We have this teal shirt that says, it has legislate in big block letters, and then it's like educate, like you went to a chalkboard and wrote over legislate with educate.
Oh, that's great.
So it has AR-15s on top and bottom of it.
Oh,
so,
I love that.
Yeah, it's
Ooh.
a great visual. I actually wore that T-shirt into the Senate Judiciary hearing. That's why I was there. I was there as a visual aid.
Yeah, good.
Myself and Maj Toure from Black Guns Matter. He was dressed to the nines in a really nice suit. And, we just sit back there behind our witnesses, and we kind of gently nod when we agree with our pro-gun side. And
right.
But those are great visuals that the other side have been using for a very long time.
Yep, they sure have.
So we're just trying to play catch up. And that T-shirt is on our website as well, dcproject.info, I think, /shop. Just go to the website and peruse around. I'm
going to get me one of those. That's great. That is terrific. Now, there was another question I was going to ask along these lines, and I just lost it here as you were telling me about the shirts, because I'm envisioning the shirts in my head. But I'm thinking I'll probably get it back here in a minute. So,
well, we actually, let me tell you this. I don't know if we're going to put them on the website, but we just got into the mask business because we are planning on going with a small contingent of ladies in April. We're going back to Washington, D.C., and we're presenting to some caucuses. And that's going to be our effort in D.C. this year. Well, you have to have a mask everywhere you go.
Yep.
In D.C. And so we got into the mask business, and we're going to have that educate over legislate message on our mask. So
that's terrific. Yeah. That's terrific. And though you say you're probably not going to sell those on the website, there are probably not a lot that were made.
Well, actually, I think we got like 72 of them. So if people are interested, hit me up and I'll see if I can't connect you. And we might as well put them on the website.
Right.
I mean, if you're gonna have to wear a mask, you might as well have a message on it.
Absolutely.
That's such a great message.
I wore I had my Trump mask. I actually wore it for weeks after the election because I still would not acknowledge, because it wasn't official that Joe Biden was president until the things had been, the electors had been certified. So,
yeah.
And people say, well, he is too, president. I said, he is not. It's not. Look at Epic Times. They've got all the real numbers there. And unfortunately, it was what it was, and it is what it is. But no, the fight, we march on, and you're right. I mean, the time to be quiet and sit on the sidelines, because we are like you. I can tell by talking with you that I don't like to ask for money, and I'm the same way. We just like to get along, and we like to play fair, and we like to be nice. But the time to be nice, I think, may have passed, because the ones who are loudest and most angry and the most vitriolic are the ones that get heard and the ones whose narrative gets out there. And it's not like me to be mean, but sometimes I guess passionate would be a better way to put it.
Right.
Passion.
Well, the DC Project is only one effort. My husband and I've been in the shooting sports for 11 years now. I retired from police work in 2014 to focus on this full time. But in 2009, 2010 is when I came back to the shooting sports from barrel racing, and really started being a second career when I retired and could focus on it full time.
Right.
But during that time, I got in with Michael Bain, who had Shooting Gallery on Outdoor Channel. And I was co-hosting with him on some episodes, and I would struggle. It's not easy to be in front of a camera and be that personality.
Right.
And I was like, Michael, where can I go to get some training? And he's like, oh, you're doing great. And I was like, no, I have a TV. I can see the show, and I suck. I want to get better. And so it was out of that. And then social media gives me headaches, and filming and editing gives me headaches.
Right.
So I was like, I want training, and what I did was I just hired subject matter experts and started the Ambassador Academy. And it's a 5-day training for really anybody, because we do go over social media, which anybody can use and needs.
Right.
We go over filming and editing, which if you're going to have social media, you know how to do that.
Yep.
We go over hostile communications. That's what I'm most proud of, and that's what we put the most focus on, is how to have difficult conversations and how to bridge, how to debate a little bit, stuff like that.
That's great. Can that be an online course?
No.
No.
Not. I guess it could be if I had the bandwidth to do that, but it's not. It's a 5-day course outside of Orlando, Florida, at a place we call Tactical Disneyland, which your audience would probably love. It's actually called WAFT, West Orlando Firearms Training, WAFT.com, if they want to check it out, because now, traditionally, this place has been closed to the public, but just last year he decided to open it up to the public.
Yep.
And amazing facility, amazing buildings, and their specialty is kind of scenario based training. And I'd like it because it's not a cookie cutter. It's not a cookie cutter class. You're going to get individualized. If you don't carry a gun, you're not going to get to carry a gun. He's going to teach you how to use what you use on a regular basis,
right?
And introduce flashlight concepts and safety concepts that don't. So it really is a class for anybody. But his facility is equipped to go all the way up to force on force. He's got probably 50 UTM guns, more guns and gear than I've seen at any police department.
Wow. And how are you spelling it? Loft, L-O-F-T?
No, W, William.
Oh, William. W-O-F-T?
Correct. West Orlando Firearms Training.
Waft.com. I've been to a Machine Gun America there in Kissimmee before.
Right. I've been there as well.
That's fun.
Yeah, it is. And but I'm telling you, check out Waft.com and check out the coffee shop.
Okay.
Liberal Tears Coffee Shop.
Well, Liberal Tears. I've heard of that place.
Yeah,
Liberal Tears Coffee Shop. Yeah. I bet not many liberals go in there, or maybe they do. I don't know.
Well, we need them to.
Yeah.
We need them to have a sense of humor.
Oh yeah, we do. We really do. I mean, that's something I've noticed about a lot of progressives. They lack the ability to laugh at themselves, and you see this. And we could talk all day. I see this all the time on who's the guy? Steve Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, all these guys. We used to watch Leno and Letterman and Carson, and we used to laugh. It used to be a great way to end the day, but they're just political hacks now.
Yep.
They can't laugh. It's frustrating.
Yep. They have to be social warrior justice.
Yeah.
Social justice warriors.
Amen. Amen to that. I was going to ask you another question about what do you? Oh shoot! Again, a question leaves me. I should have prepared more questions for you, but I like to ask things off the top of my head, and I'm just thinking of these things as we go here. So, do you think we're going to see any of these draconian gun laws pass, or do you think any of them are going to be signed into, by an executive order? Of course, if that's the case, there would be lawsuits. But I don't know how successful they'd be. This is a scary time for gun owners.
Well, if I had a crystal ball, I'd be able to answer that. But I think that if we make it out of the Senate and that we're going to, those senators need to hear from. If your senator is a pro 2A person, they need to hear from you.
Yeah, because
they're gonna hear from the people who are being told by CBS, NBC, all the mainstream media that that the Senate needs to act. You heard the president say that the Senate needs to act.
Right.
And, they campaigned on those first 100 days, and if they didn't get what they wanted, that they were going to use the executive order.
Right.
So I really hope that it makes them look as tired. I hope that the Senate does the right thing. I hope that they stand with the side of the Constitution, and I hope that if Biden's administration does feel like, I'll say it's Biden administration because I don't know that it decides anything.
Right. I don't think so. Yeah.
And so if they decide to go ahead and put push through an EO, that'll just make them look like the tyrants that they are.
Oh, exactly. I don't know if they care anymore. I think they're so transparent to that end. Everything they're doing now, Dianna, I think, including gun control, including the border wall, including the they want Medicare for all, and all of these other things. I think these are all means to the end, to the ultimate end, which is their utopia, which they have convinced many of their lemming followers does exist. If only you will give us the power and control to bring it on, we'll give you everything you need from cradle to grave, and it's going to be good. And people are lapping it up; they're believing it.
They are. But when you give everybody a trophy and don't teach them how to deal with hardships or deal with no, I feel like that's really how you get these people who are so soft and so just fragile.
Yeah, you want to use the word
generations are so fragile.
Snowflake.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one other thing. If for example they do bring in another so-called assault weapons ban, which by the way, an AR-15 I'm sure is the rifle you use or a similar gun in your 3-gun, correct?
Correct.
I mean, these guns are, and who, I can't remember who it was. We had him on the air yesterday saying the only thing an AR-15 is good for is killing people. Oh, it was Joy. It was raging racist Joy Reid on MSN. No, Joy Reid on MSNBC.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing an AR-15 is for is to kill people. Well,
see, but they get to say those lies unchecked.
Yeah,
I was watching the Georgia. I watched MSNBC for a little while last night, and they were talking about Georgia and talking. Their headline is "Republicans Against Democracy," and that's just the division and the hate is so. It's so far gone. I don't know if we can ever come back because, honestly, if you look at it, when did this kneeling start? I mean, when you start attacking our flag, you start attacking the glue that holds this country together.
Right.
Our schools are teaching our children to hate America.
Yes, they are.
And what do you have? What do you have when you have your patriotism is going down the toilet for half the country, and it's hate, and they're godless.
It's a godless society. It really is.
Yeah.
And
that's why they hate. That's why the hate is so deep.
Yeah, well, they've taken God out of the schools and they've replaced God with so much secularism. Including there's 100 different sexes. Boys can be girls and girls can be boys. And
Dr. Seuss is bad, but Cardi B was great performance.
Cardi B, WAP. You can't even say what that acronym stands for on the radio. It's unreal. Now, you created the phrase or the hashtag. I've been crediting you with it anyway for the longest time. We will not comply. Is that your hashtag?
Well, I will not comply is what I said.
Okay.
I actually testified in front of the House Judiciary in September of 2019.
Yeah.
And I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. I was just trying to point out that they made me already make a choice when they banned the bump stocks. Do I become a felon?
Right.
Or do I comply? And I said that if you do this assault weapons ban, that I think it's unconstitutional and I will not comply. But yes, I said it. I said it to, I looked straight at Jerry Nadler after I said it. And then I realized maybe I'd said too much. And I was wondering if
Jerry Nadler,
what kind of backlash I was going to get. But the reason I said that is because about an hour earlier, one of the guys from the Patriot Pickers, and I actually knew him. I didn't know him. I didn't know who it was at the time, but he stood up and he had a copy of the Constitution. He was in the gallery and he says, "I want to testify. This is unconstitutional." Blah blah blah. And I didn't even turn around for the first several seconds because I figured it was a heckler. They'd get escorted out.
Right.
But it went on and on and on. Well, I finally turned around and it was this guy from the Patriot Picket, and they have shirts that say "We will not comply."
Oh, really?
A big round circle says "We will not comply." And if you go back and look at that testimony, that I was referring to him when I said, just like that gentleman that got escorted out,
Yep.
I will not comply.
That's
So,
that. Well, that really is, that says it all. I mean, are we about in your mind now? And this is a question I ask everybody who is involved in the gun world, because you would have to ask yourself, what would people do if they said, okay, we are banning all of the, it's been voted on in the House and Senate, and we've decided that so-called assault rifles, AR stands for Armalite Rifle, by the way. I have to tell people that all the time. What do we do as law-abiding gun owners, as law-abiding people? They have now created a law that is constitutionally against the law. Do you comply?
and made you a felon.
Yeah. So
what do we do? That's a good question. That's going to be something that every person has to decide for themselves.
Yeah.
But honestly, this has been going on in California. This has been going on in New York and up in the Northeast already. People are having to decide whether they comply with these unconstitutional laws and restrictions on their rights. And some of them do, some of them don't. Some of them just do, just keep their mouth shut, keep their guns. And I don't think they had a lot of response, but they're playing the long game. They're putting in a law that's creating a hurdle for not maybe our generation, because we remember what freedom tastes like.
Right.
We're not easy to give it up, but when we die and those guns get passed down to the next generation, they're gonna, it's just gonna keep watering down our patriotism and the people who are willing to go against their unconstitutional laws. So they're playing the long game. They always have, just like I said in the beginning. Right. Susanna Hupp's been testifying with the same message to the same people for almost 30 years. And now they're just starting to reap the benefits of what they've sown so many years ago.
Yeah, she's been an amazing crusader. She really has, and so are you, Dianna Muller. You are an amazing crusader, and
well, thank you.
I love what you're doing, and I love your history, and I love your the fact that you're a 3-gun competitor, and you mentioned the long game, and that just made me think that if they did pass a law, say this Congress passes a law that we have to they should. If they have any sense at all, they would grandfather people who already own them. But if they make it a law that you have to turn in your AR-15s and your AK-47s and anything that looks mean, if you turn it in, it's gone. And then, the next Republican president and legislature that comes in could take the law away, and you no longer have your guns. So...
that's why you're going to have to make a decision.
Right.
And, this is the hill I will die on.
God bless you.
I know that I will either be an outlaw at some point if they get their way, or we just hold the line until my time here is gone. So I'll do what I can.
What a good person you are. I really appreciate your time, Dianna.
No problem.
And
what we have to do is we have to speak out to our friends, our families, and our communities and tell them that we are not the problem. And you know what? Another thing, I've been pushing DCProject.info a lot, but when you go there, A, sign up, B, get a ticket for Jerry, but 3, there's a 1-page document that we have as a free download, free because we're bad at getting money. But it's a free download, and it just talks about how to have these conversations with people of, don't rely on statistics and Constitution and things like that. Think of emotional, be emotional, do what they do.
Right.
It goes over why we don't like universal background checks, why we don't support red flag laws, why we don't, what is it about safe storage that we need to know? It's really a great document, a little 1-pager that might help everybody out in the future.
That's great. We're all looking for good talking points all the time, and this is great. That's another another thing. And again, it is dcproject.info/join to join /Well, I'm sure once you get to dcproject.info, there are probably links to all the other areas of the site.
Correct.
Okay. I've been there before, but I can't remember the layout of the site. But
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. I think there's a shop page. And that's where Jerry's link is. But the match is under events. If anybody wants to support us through the match, if there's any companies, that wants to give product, we basically turn around and do raffles and things like that and create money through product donations, stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot of, and I would love to hear feedback. So if anybody wants to, their website guru, just let us know what you think of our website and how we can make it more user friendly.
That's great. And we do have listeners on the internet. We have listeners in other states. We got Florida, we got New York, we got New Jersey, and others checking in from time to time. So if anybody in any state wants to get involved in the DC project in their state, again, just go to dcproject.info, and you'll be able to find all the links, user-friendly links right there, and probably reach out directly to you, too, I would imagine, Dianna, huh?
Sure. Yeah, and I'd love for everybody to follow us on social media. On social media, we are DC_Project Foundation on Instagram. And then on Facebook, it's the DC Project on Facebook. And, if you could just give us a like, that doesn't cost anything.
Right.
And it ups our numbers. So, we're trying to get up to Mom's Demand numbers. So, and try to be a counter to them. So just anything you can do to help us. And then if anybody wants to reach out to me personally on Instagram, I'm Di3Gun, DI, the number 3 gun. And on Facebook, I'm Dianna Muller, 3 gun.